Good to have you with us on this Thursday edition. Ed Schultz, news and commentary. Coming up, I'm going to play a piece of audio from 1984 that it just makes my bone chill a little bit. The parallel of what was said then and some of the things that are being said right now. We'll get to that a little bit later with media consultant Holland Cooke. Jonathan Alter is going to join us, and we're also going to check in with the Democratic chair in Iowa to see what's going on. But first, let's get Trump out of the way because it's amazing. Tonight is the debate for the Republicans on Fox. Trump is not going to show up. What Trump is going to do is hold an event in Des Moines, Iowa, and the proceeds are going to go to the veterans in this country. So last night, he shows up against O'Reilly. O'Reilly thinks he's going to corner Trump. Guess what? It didn't happen.
I was not treated well by Fox. They came out with this ridiculous PR statement. It was like drawn up by a child, and it was a taunt. And I said, how much of this do you take? I have zero respect for Megyn Kelly. I don't think she's very good at what she does. I think she's highly overrated. And frankly, she's a moderator. I thought her question last time was ridiculous. And everybody said I won the debate. In fact, everybody said I won all 6 debates, and especially the last one. So I don't mind debating. In fact, I actually like debating.
There was a story earlier in this campaign season that Trump was floating the idea of running as an independent. And he said he was going to consider running as an independent depending on how the Republican Party respected him. Well, they're starting to come around according to him and his campaign. But the fact is that Fox News, they're the bully on the block. They think that they can get anybody to do anything. You want to know the truth about Fox News? Okay, they got good ratings. You know what they also have? The oldest audience in all of cable. Their average audience is like 65 years old. They ain't the 25, 54 dominant that everybody thinks they are. Now, do they beat the other networks? Yeah, they do, but cable audiences are going down. And so I think O'Reilly knows this. And I think O'Reilly wanted Trump on before anybody else, not to patch it up for Fox, but of course for him. He was trying to come off as the ambassador for Fox News. Oh, can I get him to do this? I'll try to bully him into it. Listen to this exchange.
I want you to consider, all right? Think about it. Say, look, I might come back. Forgive, go forward, answer the questions, look out for the folks. Just want you to consider it. You owe me milkshakes. I'll take them off the ledger if you consider it.
Well, even though you and I had an agreement that you wouldn't ask me that, which we did, I will therefore forget that you asked me that. But it's up to Fox. It's not up to me, Bill. What they did
is
they
telling the truth.
We had that agreement. You actually did break the agreement.
You're telling the truth that I said.
Because I told you up front, I said, don't ask me that question because it's an embarrassing question for you. And I'm not going to listen to
anybody. Right, but I'm not going to listen to any political person tell me don't ask me anything. But you're absolutely an honest man. Then I said, I'll try not to do it, but the milkshake thing just overwhelmed me. But I'm asking you to reconsider it.
A lot of milkshakes.
He's asking him to reconsider it. You know why O'Reilly's doing that? I think O'Reilly knows, and Roger Ailes knows, what kind of impact Donald Trump is going to have, and that the debate is going to bomb if he's not there tonight. And so we might as well get O'Reilly to get out there. It's going to be good for his show to get Trump on, but, at the end of the day, damn, Trump's really not going to be there. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, there isn't a second worth of what Ted Cruz is going to have to say that I'm going to want to watch. And I think I'm a pretty fair-minded guy. Am I a liberal? Yes. But it's over for these chumps. It's over for Bush. It's over for Rubio. It's over for Cruz. Cruz is now sucking up to Megyn Kelly, trying to make the people think that he's such a great guy. What did Trump do? Trump called him out, said nobody likes him in the Senate. He doesn't have any friends. That's the truth. He's one of the most hated guys in Washington because he's a freaking jerk. He's a guy that went to the Senate floor and cost this country $25 billion on a government shutdown and red freaking green eggs and ham. How can you not support Trump on that? In the meantime, we got another dust up with the Democrats. It's about debates. Bernie Sanders overnight releasing a statement saying that he will agree to 3 more debates, 1 a month, but it has to include Martin O'Malley, and it's going to have to be on fair terms, not on the whim of the Clintons. We'll talk about that with Jonathan Alter when we come back. This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean bring you this production. We're right back. Hey, folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, wegoted.com, or go to biogreenclean.com. www.biogreenclean and order today. It's time to continue our conversation about mechanical insulation. Mechanical insulation is for the piping systems in our nation's commercial and industrial facilities. Facility owners are burning up billions of dollars through the lack of mechanical insulation on these piping systems. Call the iSave team. Insulation saves America valuable energy, and this team of energy conservation specialists is shovel-ready to save you money. Visit iSaveTeam.org to have a specialist give your plant an energy audit. Good to have you back with us on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. One of the odd pieces of information that came out yesterday was that after Bernie Sanders met with President Obama, it was reported that it's only the second private meeting in 7 years that he's had with the president. And I thought to myself, that's really interesting from the standpoint that, you know, Bernie was in the mix on the Affordable Care Act. Bernie's on the Budget Committee. Bernie did a heck of a lot of work on the Veterans Committee. And I thought that was, wow, Obama's only met with him twice privately? Whatever. Here's what Bernie said after the meeting.
The President and I discussed this morning a number of issues, foreign policy issues, domestic issues, occasionally a little bit of politics. But I enjoyed the meeting, and I thought it was a very positive and constructive meeting. What the President has tried to do, what Vice President Biden has tried to do, is to be as even-handed as they can be. And I know there was some discussion the other day about a political interview where he was tipping the scale towards Secretary Clinton. I don't believe that at all. I think he and the Vice President have tried to be fair and even-handed in the process, and I expect they will continue to be that way.
Well, you know what? Everybody thought, well, it was an endorsement. Well, wait a second. You know, President Obama has worked hard and long with Hillary Clinton. She was Secretary of State. I mean, come on. There's a history there. And now the backdrop to that is, well, Bernie and Obama have only met twice privately. Of course he's going to be in a position to say more about Hillary Clinton than he would Bernie Sanders. Jonathan Alter, MSNBC political analyst and author with us. Jonathan, good to have you with us.
Great to be here, Ed.
What do you make of that meeting yesterday?
Well, I think what Sanders said at the end of it was the key thing. The reason that he asked for the meeting was to try to, rebut the takeaway from the interview with Glenn Thrush, the Politico writer who has a radio show, a podcast, and that President Obama went on, and so after he seemed to indicate that he liked Hillary Clinton without endorsing her, the Sanders people immediately asked for a meeting with the president to show that he, was still neutral in the race, which they need. That's something they very much need going into the Iowa Caucus, the New Hampshire primary. I think you're right that most voters, if they really care a lot about what Barack Obama thinks, will reasonably conclude that even though he hasn't made an endorsement, that he prefers Hillary.
What do you make of this dust up now with debates? Bernie Sanders puts out a release over the night, and he says that he'll debate 3 more times. But it doesn't want to do it on the weekend, doesn't want to do it on a holiday, and wants Martin O'Malley involved, and there has to be 1 a month over the next 3 months. And there's a school of thought out there that one of the reasons why this is happening is because Hillary's behind. And yesterday, they had the Clinton camp had talked about a debate before New Hampshire. What do you, is this just political back and forth, campaign jockeying? What is this?
Now, this is kind of a fix, almost a do-over. The Hillary people made a bad mistake, I think, early last year when they were scheduling the debates. They tried to hide them on the weekends. They thought that the best thing for Hillary would be if, she didn't have to debate Sanders any more than necessary because she was so far ahead. That blew up in their face. It made them look manipulative. It was stupid because Hillary's a good debater and there's no reason to hide her. So I think you have a situation now where it's in both candidates' interest to have some more of these debates. They're substantive, unlike the Republicans. They're civil, and it's good for the voters to see them debating more often. So I think it's one of those cases where they're going to fix it, and we're going to see more debates.
You think Trump gets hurt by not debating tonight on Fox?
I don't really think so. I think with Trump, it's all about strength. And he looks strong. He looks like he got the better of Fox, and I don't think it will make him look like a coward or anything like that. Even though I think he is, because I think any bully is ultimately a coward when you strip away their bullying. But I don't think he's afraid of Megyn Kelly. He did well in the last couple of debates. I think it's that he doesn't let anybody push him around. That's his brand. That's who he thinks he is. It's a terrible trait in a president, this kind of behavior, of course. But I think he'll get away with it. The big question is the one that Lawrence O'Donnell raised last night, which is, will he ever debate again? I'm not sure that he wants to. When the field narrows, I'm not sure he wants to go in there, one-on-one with Ted Cruz and one other. I don't think he would want to debate the Democrat in a general election.
I thought that Trump said late yesterday that he would do one-on-one with Cruz.
Well, what he says is not worth very much. We know that.
Okay.
I think Lawrence might be right that I think you're going to see a precedent here where he's going to try to. He's going to make every debate a negotiation and see what kind of leverage he has going into the debate. And we're going to be subjected to an endless series of debates over debates. Will Donald Trump show up for the South Carolina debate? Will he show up for the debate with Hillary or Bernie? And he will. That's just the way he rolls. Yeah. Everything is a question of what leverage does he have. It's all about him. His participation in the debate is the only thing that he cares about. It's about him, not about the issues, not about the country. It's just more megalomaniacal, narcissistic behavior. But in this case, because these are alpha male contests in a certain sense, who's king of the hill, who's strong, who's tough, that he's reinforced his brand on this whole debate over debates.
That pretty much clears the beach. Jonathan Alter, great to visit with you. I appreciate your time. Yeah, thanks so much.
Great talking to you, Ed. Take care.
You bet. Author, MSNBC political analyst. When we come back, I'm going to play you a piece of audio from 1984 that's kind of chilling. And also a take that I haven't heard anywhere else. Holland Cooke, media consultant, joins us. Stay with us. We're right back on Ed Schultz News and Commentary.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
Good to have you with us on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Thanks for the view, the listen, the podcast. You go to my website, wegoted.com, ringofireradio.com, and rawstory.com, and, of course, RT.com. RT America, that's where I do my show every night, Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m., RT.com and on Dish and Direct. All right, this was brought to our attention by my great friend, Holland Cooke, media consultant. He sent us a piece of audio that I think is just absolutely chilling, and it plays into a story that I think was missed in the most recent debate. That, too, pointed out to me by Holland. So let's bring him in. Holland, good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ed.
You bet. All right, who did who a favor this week? I think that's the way we set this. Who did who a favor, and in the news cycle, who kind of dodged the negativity?
Unwittingly, Donald Trump did Bernie Sanders a huge favor because the Donald commands attention. If I could watch three things at once, I would have last night, but I can only watch two things at once. And I was going back and forth between NBC and the CBS Evening News, and both of these marquee primetime network newscasts led with Donald Trump's Fox News feud. This guy commands attention, and as a society, as a culture, we've clearly demonstrated we can only concentrate on one thing at a time. So the reason I say Donald Trump has done Bernie Sanders a huge favor is because in the event over the weekend where Governor O'Malley and Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders appeared one at a time, Bernie Sanders said something which otherwise could come back to haunt him in a dialogue that would be edited very capriciously. He confirmed that, yes, we will raise taxes to fund Medicare for all. And he continued that it's going to be a wash because you will instead not be paying premiums. Employers will be paying less for employee coverage. But you know how the subjective editing takes place if the news organization has an agenda. So the soundbite that would come back to haunt Senator Sanders is, yes, I will raise taxes. And that is Oppo research gold. But it has barely been covered since, because the Donald Fox News Megyn Kelly dust-up is the one thing we seem to be capable of paying attention to. And Senator Sanders' moment of integrity, like the soundbite that you mentioned we're about to hear from Walter Mondale, is a moment that is too rare in politics, where somebody says, I'm going to give it to you straight.
Yeah. I'm going to raise your taxes. That is one of the sentences that certainly hurt Mondale in Ronald Reagan's reelection campaign in 1984. This is from, I believe, the debate where he told the American people exactly where the country is and how to fix it.
If this administration has a plan for a better future, they're keeping a secret. Here's the truth about the future. We are living on borrowed money and borrowed time. These deficits hike interest rates, clobber exports, stunt investment, kill jobs, undermine growth, cheat our kids, and shrink our future. Whoever is inaugurated in January, the American people will have to pay Mr. Reagan's bills. The budget will be squeezed. Taxes will go up. And anyone who says they won't is not telling the truth to the American people. I mean business. By the end of my first term, I will reduce the Reagan budget deficit by 2/3. Let's tell the truth. That must be done. It must be done. Mr. Reagan will raise taxes, and so will I. He won't tell you. I just did.
He won't tell you, I just did. And, of course, Reagan grabbed that, and he just absolutely ran with it, accusing Mondale of raising taxes. And what happened? Well, it was a landslide. I think the only state that Mondale won was his own state of Minnesota. So, Holland, you think that one's going to come back and bite Bernie?
Yeah, well, the resemblance is haunting. I got chills just listening to that clip from Walter Mondale again. I think that was from the convention. I remember the crowd roared, and then Reagan, of course, raised taxes 11 times. And think about Bush Sr. What ended up as the dagger in his political heart was read my lips, no new taxes. And then when he tried to play ball with Congress and made a deal and raised taxes, that was the end of him.
That's right. That's right. Clinton came in 92 and beat him. Interesting stuff. All right. How does this help or hurt Trump not being in the debate tonight?
I think he has played Fox News like a Stradivarius, and they did it to themselves with that wise guy press release about him, how you're going to stand up to Putin if you can't stand up to Megyn Kelly. Hardly telegraphing that they are an objective purveyor of the news. And, of course, the Fox News base probably loves it, but it inoculates Trump against being called chicken. He is an earned media machine because he's turning this into a positive. And look what's happening over on the Democrat side, where Hillary is trying to lure Bernie into one more debate before New Hampshire. Nobody wants that more than Martin O'Malley, who enjoys any exposure he can get, even though he's being drowned out by more powerful personalities. Nobody needs it less than Bernie, who is on a trajectory to win New Hampshire, and he has political cover by saying, I'm not going to do it if it's not sanctioned by the party. So we'll see how that plays out. Mrs. Clinton is still pressing for that, but there's a lot of jockeying going on with to debate or not to debate lately, and I just think it's great, not just for entertainment value, but because people are paying attention to the election process this early.
Holland Cooke, media consultant, hollandcooke.com. Follow him. And survivalspeech.com, also a great website. Holland, good to have you with us. All the best, my friend. Thanks.
Okay, pal.
When we come back, a look at Iowa, the Democratic Party chair, Dr. Andy McGuire, with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Stay with us. Coming down to the wire, Bernie Sanders has released his schedule. I tell you what, people talk about, well, he's 74. Excuse me? He's acting like he's 24. I mean, the schedule is brutal. He's making all kinds of stops in a 6-day run up to the caucus on Monday night. All right, Dr. Andy McGuire joins us. She is the Iowa Democratic Party chair. Dr. McGuire, good to have you with us on Ed Schultz News and Commentary.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
What kind of turnout are we going to see? I mean, the Quinnipiac poll recently, it's neck and neck. Sanders 49-45 within the margin of error. O'Malley at 4%. Everybody says they got a ground game. What are you expecting?
Well, Ed, I would tell you all three candidates do have a ground game. They're very well organized all through the state, and we're expecting a very good turnout on caucus night. Maybe not quite to the unique turnout of 2008, but a very, very good turnout.
Well, the analysis is that if the young people do show up the way they've been polled, that Bernie's in pretty good shape. And you being a party chair, I know you got to walk the line on that. But what are going to be some of the factors here, you think?
Well, obviously, weather's always one, and it looks like we may have a hold on weather, so hopefully that's good. But it just depends on which organizations can really fire up their people to get there on caucus night. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's exactly at one time everywhere in the state. But what I've seen when I've been traveling the state is they all have organizations in all parts of the state. And so, I think they always talk about Bernie having some of the younger or certain people having, Martin O'Malley having less. I tell you what I see. I see support all over the state. And even Martin O'Malley has a very good organization. I would say he looks like he's above where they put him in the polls. So I think we're going to have a neck-and-neck race, and that really helps with turnout because that people know that their vote really counts and that they can determine the outcome of this. And that's great for a party chair who, I need turnout. That's how I win in November.
Well, turnout, let's talk about that. What's your sense? I mean, you've been through this before. You've seen it before in Iowa. Does it look like it's going to be? I've had people tell me, this is going to be a record night. It's going to be just a barn burner.
Well, I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be a great turnout. We had such a unique situation in 2008, really doubled our previous turnout. So I'm not sure we'll get to that level, but, I stopped trying to predict turnout because people tried to predict it before. They're always wrong. So you never know what's going to happen, but I do know it's going to be a good one. I think it will rival, somewhere between where we usually are and 2008, but it's so hard to predict it. And I just want to make sure that everybody who's listening to you, it's in Iowa, comes out and caucuses, because this is really your time to have your voice heard. It's a great democracy in action, and I just want to tell people, come on out, get in line at 6:30, be in line by 7, and tell us who your preference is for leading us forward.
And when do you think this is all going to conclude? Is this a 2-3 hour process? When do you think this caucus would be called?
Well, we have a great new app, and so we'll be announcing the progress of how we're getting the results in all along. But typically it takes at least an hour-ish to get the first results in, and then it'll go from there. It's hard to say just because there's a lot of conversation. The great thing about the Democratic caucus is we have great conversations about where our country should go and the issues that are important to people. So it takes a while. But 2 or 3 hours in, I would guess we'll know where we're going.
Okay. Look across the street now. What's going on with the Republicans? What's your take on who's going to win that? Is it going to be Cruz or is it going to be Trump?
I'm not sure I can even predict between those two, but I will tell you one thing, Ed. They are all doing the Trump policies. They're all talking about divisiveness and hatred. And honestly, they're talking about policies that are from back before George Bush. And so really, I keep being amazed that people are listening to that and thinking that's a good direction for our country.
Okay. Dr. Andy McGuire, chair of the Iowa Democratic Party. Appreciate your time. All the best.
Well, thank you. Thanks for what you do.
You bet. This is Ed Schultz, News and Commentary. Closing comments after this.
From the steel mills of Pennsylvania to the auto factories of Michigan to the modern makers movement, manufacturing makes our nation great. I'm Scott Paul, president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We bring business and labor together to advocate for policies that everyone can agree on. Together, we can strengthen manufacturing and create good-paying American jobs. Help us keep it made in America.
The news with Ed Schultz tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on RT. Appreciate all the compliments. You like it back on the tube? I sure do. Thanks so much. Zika virus. It is spreading to the point where health officials don't know what to do. So what the World Organization has done, announcing today that they are going to convene an emergency committee to try to find ways to figure out what this Zika virus is, where's it coming from, how to treat it, because it is, according to World Health officials, spreading rapidly, explosively across the Americas. Story to watch. We'll have it on RT America with the news with Ed Schultz tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it on the web at RT.com or check your local listings anywhere on Dish and Direct. Have a great one. We're back tomorrow.